From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your Evening Update.
Kent's Meats and Grocery is much more than a grocery store. We carry a full line of quality meats, local and organic vegetables, and a large variety of fish, Green Mountain Smart Control pellet grills, and a full deli case of sandwiches and side dishes.
Well, good evening, everyone. It turned out to be a pretty active day in the eastern mountains out there. Some pretty strong thunderstorms, some hail, frequent lightning. There were even some advisories out there, but for the most part, we're going to start to see things begin to wind down as we go into the evening and overnight hours, and then much quieter weather for the rest of the week and even going into the weekend, even though there is a slight chance for showers out there. Here's a look out to the east as we're looking out at the Redding Cam. Kind of hard to see, but there are some towering cumulus clouds out there, and a lot of the cloud tops have been kind of blown over from those upper level winds, kind of giving an indication of just how strong some of these thunderstorms have been. But again, things are quieting down. We've got a big temperature drop this week, possible mountain showers, and maybe even some elevated winds here for Wednesday night and into Thursday. We'll take a close look at Futurecast here in a bit. And then cooler temperatures. Once we cool things down, those cooler temperatures are going to be sticking around. Taking a look at the radar here, and again, this is what it kind of looked like through the afternoon. You can see there was also a few pop-ups here in Trinity County as well, as you can clearly see here. Not a lot though, but again, the bulk of the activity has been in Lassen and Plumas counties. This will continue to die down as the sun sets, and we'll be looking at much quieter conditions here overnight tonight. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the smoke too. The smoke has certainly been an issue, especially in Trinity County. Been, of course, a lot of talk about the haze, a little bit of smoke in the valley as well. Now, keep in mind, it's not the surface winds that tends to drive the smoke. You go just above the surface. And what direction those winds above the surface blow is what transports the smoke. Keep that in mind. So a lot of people talk about, well, we had a south wind. If we had a south wind, we can't be getting smoke coming in from the fires from the northwest. That's not true, because the winds of the upper levels of the atmosphere are what driving those smoke down to the south and southeast, even though you may have a southerly flow of winds at the surface. That's something we need to kind of remember here. So here's Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. Most of the smoke is over Trinity County and western Siskiyou County at this point. But you don't have to go too far. Look off in the distance and you certainly can see that haze out there. We take you into your Tuesday afternoon and evening. Some of that haze is making its way into the northern end of the valley. So there will be some haze out there in parts of the valley here. Then we go into Wednesday morning, 6 a.m. More smoke and haze coming down into Trinity County, and it's just beginning to kind of hug the foothills and the valley as well. So smoke and haze will continue to be a concern here over the next few days. As long as those fires are burning, we've got that threat of seeing some of that smoke and haze. Here's what it looks like for tonight. Of course, there you can see by tomorrow, we're going to be back in the upper 80s to around 90 degrees. And for the mountains, should be dry for the most part, but there could be a pop-up shower or thunderstorm again, believe it or not, for some of the eastern mountains. But I don't expect it to be nearly as widespread as it was today. So there you can see some of the clouds pushing on through. There are those cloud tops, really those thunderstorms exploding off to the north and east, and you can see a couple of those that did make their way into Trinity County as well. But taking a look at Futurecast, we do have another round possibly. Of course, as we go into tonight, it dries out. There's 11 o'clock tonight. Let's take you into tomorrow afternoon and look at this. We're seeing the potential for a pop-up shower or thunderstorm in parts near Chester, maybe Susanville, maybe around the Quincy area as well. But that should quickly dissipate as we go into the evening hours. In fact, by 5 p.m., most of it will be gone. And then, of course, by Tuesday night, it's gone as well. We take you through Wednesday, just some clouds developing, but overall, I don't anticipate to see any rainfall or thunderstorms by Wednesday. The upper level pattern, this is something I've been monitoring very closely. This is what's responsible for the thunderstorms that we've seen. It's moving out. Now we've got this area of low pressure. I've been talking about it even all weekend long, but just wasn't quite sure of the positioning of the low. Where this low decides to go is the key factor on who sees rain, who sees wind, and not to mention even the cooler temperatures. So The long-range forecast models are in very good agreement that this is where the low pressure will be, just to the north and east of Northern California. With that position, most of the rain is in Nevada. We get some wraparound moisture coming on the backside of that low. We could see some activity Thursday for places like El Turris, not to mention heading southward into Lassen County, to Plumas County, getting in on that as well. But another thing to take into account is the positioning of this low could also help to generate some gusty winds, especially as we go into Wednesday night and into Thursday. And the bottom line for everyone, cooler temperatures are going to be in the forecast. And that's moving on out. The winds begin to die down, but then we've got this broad trough of low pressure that's going to bring us significantly cooler air. Now we've got to watch how quickly this is going to move in, because some models are now beginning to show maybe some rain coming in as early as next Monday. For now, I'm keeping it dry, but you'll see on Futurecast here that it is going to be indicating that by next week, Monday, maybe some rain. We'll see that here in a second. Here's this Thursday around noon. There you can see around Quincy down into Plumas County. But look at this. We'll see kind of on the backside of that low still, on even Friday morning, some activity still in Modoc County, making its way into parts of Lassen County as well. Look at that, even some snow possibly making its way into some of the higher elevations. Yeah, some of the first snow of the season possibly making its way here, and not to mention maybe even parts of the Sierra. That's Friday morning at 5 a.m., then that's gone by Friday afternoon. But you can see these systems trying to push on through. Honestly, they're not going to be that strong, but as we go to Monday, this particular model wants to bring in that rain. This is the American forecast model. The GFS forecast model has us dry. So I'm not putting rain in the forecast just yet for Monday, but stay tuned if you have plans early next week, because you could be looking at that potential. Let's talk about the winds, because that's going to be another concern that we've got to watch. The winds won't be a problem here for tomorrow. They really won't even much of a problem through most of the day on Wednesday, but by Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, we're beginning to see the winds pick up. You see the darker shades of blue and lighter shades of blue and green. That's when you start getting in the 15 to over 20 mile an hour range. So you can see by 5 p.m. on Wednesday, especially the north end of the valley, we're beginning to see those winds pick up. Now, one thing I want you to know about is that PG&E has made people aware that they may be doing a PSPS. That's the power shutoff for safety concerns with these gusty winds. And for Wednesday, it's going to be for parts of Shasta and Tehama counties. Now watch what happens as we go into Wednesday night. Wednesday night at 10 p.m., now we're seeing those winds over 20, quite possibly close to 30 miles per hour, depending on where you are. And I think that trend will continue on into Thursday as well. So with that said, there's been a PSPS that's been alert for not only Shasta and Tehama counties, but also Butte and Glenn counties are part of that as well, as those winds begin to pick up. This is not guaranteed as far as the power shutoff is concerned. And quite honestly, I'm not terribly concerned about this wind event, because number one, it won't be prolonged. And number two, temperatures are not going to be all that hot. And number three, there's still a little bit of that leftover moisture from the storms that we've seen. So we don't have really all of the ingredients for high fire danger. But that being said, the fire danger certainly will be elevated, especially as we do go into Wednesday evening and Thursday. So of course today, we didn't have the elevated fire danger. Let's go ahead and take you on into Tuesday now. There's the afternoon. We're not seeing any elevated fire danger anywhere, so Tuesday won't be much of a concern. But look what happens as we go into Wednesday, especially late in the day Wednesday. You see some of the yellow popping up here. Now what that is what I like to just call maybe elevated fire danger. That is, we're not in low, we're not in high, but we are seeing some concerns. The main concern right now are the winds. Humidity levels are going to be a bit higher than we would during high fire danger, and the temperatures aren't going to be quite that high either. In fact, by Thursday, that's when temperatures are only expected to reach the low 80s, quite possibly even some upper 70s in the valley. So that's why I'm not terribly concerned about this, but with gusty winds at times, that certainly can create a problem here. So we'll certainly keep a close eye on things for you here in the days to come. Keep a close eye on it. Here's your 10-day trend. Remember what I was talking about? By Thursday, we're down to the low 80s, but then temperatures kind of level out in the low to mid 80s here for the weekend and even going into next week. All right, so let's take a look at your forecast for tonight. We do expect things to clear out. No more showers, no more thunderstorms in the forecast. But tomorrow, I do expect to see that potential for some showers and maybe some thunderstorms here around Susanville, maybe Chester. But it's going to be few and far between, to the point I'm really not putting it into the forecast here. But just be aware that certainly is going to be a possibility. And then, of course, the valley is dry, and I expect dry conditions here off to the west and even to the north into Siskiyou County as well. So here is your 7-day outlook. So we do have that chance for showers and thunderstorms again as we go into Thursday for both Alturas and Susanville. We also have that slight chance for places like Susanville tomorrow, and not to mention the Chester area as well. Otherwise, it will be dry after that as we take a look at the extended outlook beyond that. Now, looking at your 7-day outlook for the valley, yes, it's still going to be pretty warm, but those temperatures are dropping. We're in the low 80s by Thursday, leveling out in the low to mid 80s by Friday through the weekend into early next week.